welcome everyone here today to the Naturally Speaking show. I'm Mary Rubino, and the goal of this show is to kind of bring to you, to the community, an awareness of all the holistic health practitioners in the area, all very, very willing to help you create a great lifestyle. Today with me here is Marcia Coakley. Now, Marcia's company is called Dance of Health, and she's going to just explain a little bit about what that means, what the name Dance of Health means. So Marcia, welcome. So glad to have you here.
Thank you, Mary. It's a pleasure, and I'm grateful to this opportunity to share with the community what I'm doing with my whole mission. My mission is about bringing health to people, and the path that I've found is through movement and through food and nutrition. And I've been exploring that for over 40 years, well, my whole life. And to be honest, I'm actually thrilled to say that in a week I'm going to be 60, and that I'm actually so excited about, it's kind of a threshold, and it's kind of continuing powerfully. And I like to offer that that's everyone's possibility. But what makes it magical is being really connected to yourself.
Okay. Really
connected to what works for you. And everyone has a lot of similar things with their neighbors. So being connected to your community is very important, and finding similarities, finding people with whom you resonate, with whom you can do things, with whom you can connect, and yet also finding what makes you you.
Okay, so if you're heading on a path, say you wanted to feel better all the way around, so what you're saying basically is that it's the movement, but it's also how you fuel your body and how you source that out, like looking for things in the community, you know, healthy living food and that kind of stuff?
Absolutely.
Okay.
Movement is key, and I like to think that it is a journey that anybody can take at whatever level we're at. So I do teach movement, a fitness class called Nia.
Oh. Okay.
It's a wonderful practice, and I can talk a little more about that, but I want to sort of put that in context, that it's movement that's guided through what feels good to your body.
Now, Nia is, your class in Nia is done at Living Buddha Nature Center in Millis, right?
I teach at Living Buddha Nature. You're going to have Ed here soon. That's a wonderful studio in Millis. It's a great facility. I also teach at the Foxborough Y and some other locations.
Okay.
And I like people to explore it as it's not a scary thing. It's you do it where you are. And I have all different ages, all different abilities. I literally have 80-year-olds and 20-year-olds.
So it doesn't really matter?
Nia is designed to do it at the level that fits your body's way. Right. So we teach level 1, which is smaller. We teach level 2, which is bigger, and level 3 might be athletic. You might be leaping and jump, but it's mostly finding something that feels good.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right, I got one big question about that though, because I like to dance, but I'm very uncoordinated, so it doesn't matter if I'm uncoordinated?
No.
Okay.
In fact, that's actually a perfect reason to say, what can I do to get less uncoordinated, get more coordinated? And what we do is we learn how to learn. We learn how to learn movement. It's like we learn how to learn anything. That in itself is the skill. Not that, oh my God, I can do this move, I can do this dance. And that's fun too. And those people who love to dance understand that. But those people who feel like, I'm not a dancer, well, yes you are. You just don't do it the way someone else does. And you also can always learn how to find it in your own body's way. And I can't tell you how exciting it is to watch my older adults particularly, but everyone who comes to my classes learn a pattern, and it's learn a flow, learn a way that makes it their body's journey, their dance, their way. Okay. And also it doesn't matter. As long as you're moving, it's good, and music is a great inspiration. So we call it movement, music, and magic that happens as a result.
Movement, music, and magic.
Yeah,
like
and it
that.
happens all the time. And our bodies do want to move, and that's actually back to where we started this conversation, which is movement matters. It keeps us healthy. It doesn't matter what it looks like. It's about exploring what is the movement your body's capable of, and what more can you do. Range of motion, feeling,
So if someone came to you for your class, it would just be like a gentle introduction to being able to move your body for whatever, as much as you possibly can, correct?
Yeah, I mean, you want a challenge. You want to get out of your comfort zone. The comfort zone is sitting on the couch for a lot of people, and that's limiting. Let's get real. It's going to limit you, and you don't use it, you will lose it.
Right,
there is no question. That is the physiology of the human being. So let's move it in a way that feels good, so that you want to keep doing it, and that expands that comfort zone, expands that range of motion, expands your ability to balance. I mean, if it might be as simple as practicing on standing on one foot. And that doesn't have to look like anything, although it could be a cat stance in Tai Chi, which is, again, part of our techniques, where you're balancing for the sake of finding ease in that. But you could brush your teeth while you're doing that.
No, I can't brush my teeth and keep one leg
Oh,
up.
I don't want to hear the can't, honey.
No, no.
You could.
I can't even walk and chew gum.
But that is exactly why your body wants to get more skillful, because that's. So it is absolutely learnable. Anybody can learn.
Well, I'm going to have to try that and get
your
back to
time
everyone.
frame is unique to you. How long you take is fine.
Now, there's a couple other things I want to talk to you about, because when I read about all the things that you're into, you have an enormous eclectic lifestyle where you have you hand in a lot of pots, I guess is what I want to say. So one of the things I did notice when I looked at this is that you also coach people on healthier lifestyle and not just fitness, but also nutrition and cooking. And so if someone could come to you actually and get like life coached in a real well-rounded way, correct?
I like to think that it's the most fundamental stuff, And there's important discussions and questions that we all have. And I absolutely love guiding people to make those choices with alignment with who they are, what they like,
right.
You know, what turns them on, but also what keeps them healthy or what gets them healthier. Because we often only do what we know, and if we learned another way, or if we saw it from a different perspective,
that's really true.
There's so much more possible. But that's actually one of the magnificent things, is that all human beings are doing cool things, and we get to learn from each other. And there's nothing new on one level, but it's new to you.
Well, when you talk about it being, like everyone has something cool, that's very true. But not everyone is willing to bring it to the rest of the world. So that's where your gift is, and I want to make sure I point that out. That people that are doing holistic practices are willing to put themselves out, and you have been doing this for a very long time, very successful with it. And not only that, you go from step one, the dance, to going into nutrition and like a real whole health perspective. And I think that's what really makes a huge difference. I mean, you can be a dancer and then go have some fast food, and you may be missing the point of only taking care of one part of you.
Yeah, it would be a disadvantage for sure. And actually, that is a really good overview, because what it comes down to is taking responsibility for yourself.
Right.
Because if you want to have a long, healthy life, I mean, having a long life sounds good, but not if you're not healthy.
Right. Exactly.
You know that as much as anybody. We are not here to suffer. We're here to make it as good as we can, but that requires our commitment to it, and that requires learning what you need to learn. And you may follow a path, like say someone else is doing this thing. They're doing a certain kind of food choice, or a certain kind of diet, or a certain kind of exercise program, and they may be doing really well with it, but it may not be right for you. It may not fit you. But if you don't explore it, you won't know. You get to try it out. You get to try it on. Try it on for size.
Okay, so it's like just testing the water and seeing what really works best for you.
And we don't actually know a lot of the answers. I mean, about food. They're just made a decision about, certain foods are bad or good or whatever. You'll hear a different thing every week because they're exploring new things.
True.
We don't know everything about how the body uses it, but we know a lot more than we used to, and we can use that to fine tune. But what it comes really down to is what's your genetics, what's your preferences, what's unique to you.
Well, I can only imagine. I mean, I work with people in their thought process, which drives a lot of 90% of your behavior is driven by your thought. But on the same note, I would imagine that in the dance of health, that when people are dancing and they're learning how to connect with their body in such a way that they're fine-tuning, so they're kind of tuned in to themselves in a very different way. So, I mean, then you start with the other parts of that, which is feeding that and fueling that and what feels good. So I think what you do and what you bring to the table for people is so incredibly unique, because maybe I don't want someone to tell me how to eat, but maybe I want someone to show me how to move my body, and then eventually I'll move into that nutritional component of it.
Readiness is key. Readiness is key, and actually from children. One of the things that is a driving force for me is letting children be who they are, but also letting them learn, letting them explore, letting them choose based on their readiness.
Right.
And when we encourage kids to rush into things and walk sooner and talk sooner and write sooner and read sooner and everything sooner and do this sooner, not always a good thing. And in fact, that makes them often feel pressure, and that's another story.
Okay.
But point is we're ready when we're ready.
Yeah.
And it's not all parallel. It
Right.
doesn't all happen at the same time. So when readiness happens, let's go for it.
Right.
When it's not there, let's explore things that might uncover it. And back to what you were saying about movement and mind, that's one of the things that's really fascinating. Some people will find that they discover more through mindfulness, like hypnosis, whatever journey that might look like, into feeling themselves physically. Other people, and my contention is often that we don't know what we can feel through our bodies that might reveal a huge amount of things. And I actually am a strong believer in the somatic, which is the whole body experience, the somatic journey of exploration. And it might be sitting still in a chair meditating. It might be moving. And it might be dance, quote unquote.
Right.
But dance is anything that's moving that you choose to call it. It could be just movement. It could be a fitness exercise. It could be all of
It could
those
just
things.
be dancing in the kitchen, right? I hope so.
Absolutely. Put some music on or hear the music in your head. I talk about dancing in the grocery store all the time, which means that you're just boogieing inside your body and people don't necessarily see it. Maybe there's music playing on the system. Maybe you got something in your ear that you heard earlier. It's moving and being connected to what it feels like. We call it sensation. We have sensations. We have senses, and then we have sensation. But that's what your body tells you. Are you listening to your body? Does it communicate?
Well, I think sometimes we're kind of just going through the motions, and we're not really mindful or thoughtful of what we're doing and why we're doing it. We're just kind of on autopilot.
Absolutely.
But what you said about children kind of brings to mind something else. When you talk about children moving at their own speed, that's so true of anybody. That's true of adults.
Absolutely.
I mean, I know that sometimes we have to be, let me call it this, like cosmically pushed in a direction. Maybe you feel like you're doing okay because you're existing and you're working and all that, and then all of a sudden you go to the doctor and you find out, oh, wait a minute, I have to do things differently. And so you're pushed in a direction that's new to you. Where children, they may explore and then and they're prompted to, but maybe we are not as adults. So I think our cosmic pushes or our motivation is sometimes very different, and it causes us to seek things that help us feel better in our bodies. And I know dance is just an amazing, amazing gift, and I'm so glad to have you here sharing that with us. Now, I want to go to your NIA class, but I'm wondering, if I were to go, like what would this is on Saturday. I'm
Saturday,
saying,
11 o'clock.
Okay.
Millis.
So if I was going to go there, do I have to
studio.
get dressed in a certain way?
So it is a very loose, choose to your comfort level.
Okay, so like sweatpants or something like that?
Comfort movement clothes, yeah. The same thing you might wear to a yoga class or a fitness class, but it's really what makes you feel comfortable.
Okay.
Not big floppy things, obviously, things that get in your way.
Now I've seen
Although you
pictures
can
of
do
you.
that if you
I've
want
seen
to.
pictures of you doing this, and you don't wear shoes, which is kind of cool.
Yes.
All right, so you're kind of like grounded when you're doing
Some
it.
people who do NIA will wear something on their feet. It's really it is a choice that you get to make, and you can explore that at your level. We invite people to go barefoot.
Right.
It was crafted. NIA was crafted back in the '80s by Debbie and Carlos Rosas, and they took their shoes off. They were aerobics people. They were teaching aerobics, and they're like, we're not having a lot of fun here. We're getting injured. We're not feeling that fit. What's wrong with this
too
picture?
much, right?
Too much of not the right things. Exactly. And they said, let's go back and find out, what does the body need to feel movement differently, like really feel movement, have some more fun, put some great music on that we really feel like moving to, as opposed to just keeping the beat and pounding on, which is fun sometimes, but not all the time.
Yeah.
And then what does our body, how does our body work? So it's all about anatomy, really, when we learn about teaching it. And our feet are protected by shoes, but they're also limited by shoes.
Right.
So if you're wearing, a very formed running shoe, for example, or a walking shoe, or just a shoe you might get because you know you have feet that are having an issue.
Right.
That's protective, and it keeps it in a place where you know it, which is
too?
it's restrictive though. So when you go barefoot and you move slowly and mindfully, which is what we do in NIA.
I definitely need to try this.
Yeah, you're
I
going
don't
to
move any slow at all.
slow is actually more challenging because you have to like pay attention, which is part of the point,
Right.
much of the point. But at the same time, our feet get to explore something new. And we get to sense, how can I do, and you can actually heal your feet using them mindfully. I've heard it happen many, many times.
Huh.
Many, many times. Now, that's not always the perfect progression to start barefoot and then, stay there. Other people will gradually put more time into barefootness. Walk around your house. Some people always go barefoot. Some people never go barefoot.
Yeah, I love being barefoot. That's why I said, oh, this will be a nice fit for
Exactly.
me.
The idea
moving
is
slow, maybe tough.
it's a mixture. It's not all slow motion, but the idea is that we don't rush into learning things. One of the problems with a lot of movement fitness classes these days, much as they're fun to move fast and go with the beat and so on, I love it, but not as a steady diet. Especially because it's not how our brains learn. Our brains will not learn something new if you push it into hyperspeed.
Like try to go fast.
Try to go fast, exactly. That's actually what happens then is the brain says, oh, I got to keep up with this. I'm going to just do what I already know. And you don't even have time to think about it. It will go back to what it knows. It'll do the habit that it has. That habit might be useful, or it may not be there. It may not exist, in which case you're stuck with trying to keep up following a teacher, for example.
Right.
And that's when people get hurt. Because they're trying to do something their body isn't skillful at, which is not a bad thing, it's just the truth.
Right.
So let's train it. Let's learn slowly.
Gently.
And mix it gently.
Yeah, right.
Let's add complexity little by little. Let's build it. It is magical to watch. And once your brain has that, by the way, your brain loves patterns. It loves to learn
And structure, I know
It
that,
loves
yeah.
structure, but then it loves to play around that. And then when it comes back, it says, oh, I recognize that. I can do that. And you don't have to think of it. It's not a thinking thing. It's a body knows it.
Okay, so I don't have to think. I can go barefoot.
Yeah.
I'm sold. All right, so
Yeah.
this Saturday at 11 o'clock, you're going to be doing this at Living Buddha Nature?
Living Buddha Nature in Millis. It's a centennial place right next door to the public library.
Okay,
Yeah,
great.
you go in the back. There's great parking in the back door entrance. Come in. It's a beautiful space. Great
Marcia
studio.
Coakley, you are an amazing woman. I'm so glad to have you here. If anyone is very interested, which I know you should be or could be, check out danceofhealth.com, correct?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Danceofhealth.com.
And learn a little bit more about Marcia. Marcia, thank you so much.
It's a delight. Thank you.
Give me a hug. Thank you.